Welcome to the first video lecture of history. We will be starting with class 7 history subject, lesson number 1, sources of history. Now dear students, I hope you are having your history textbooks with you when you are with me on the video. Open your history textbook and then we will be reading from the textbook. Sources of history. What is the meaning of sources? Students, the things which gave us the information about history, about the past events, about the past culture, anything about the past, those things are called sources. Those are the sources of history. In the last class, we have studied the ancient Indian history. Now, what is ancient Indian history? Ancient Indian history means बहुत पुरानी history. Primitive man, ये सब history हमने past classes में पढ़ी थी, right? So, in this class, we will be studying the history related to medieval period. What is medieval period? Medieval period is the period which starts from the 9th century Christian era till the end of the 18th century Christian era. Okay, तो जो इस पीरियड के दौरान, इस पीरियड के बीच में जो भी पास्ट था, जो भी हिस्ट्री थी इस पीरियड के बीच में, 9th सेंचुरी क्रिश्चियन एरा और 18th सेंचुरी के बीच में जितनी भी इवेंट्स हुई, जितने भी लोग, जैसे लोग रहते थे, जो भी प्रूफ्स मिले, उस पीरियड को बोला जाता है मिडिवल पीरियड. और उसके बीच में जितने भी इवेंट्स हुए वो उसकी हिस्ट्री. ठीक है. In this lesson we are going to study the sources of medieval history. Now what is history? हमने जाना what is sources. Now what is history? History gives us a chronological, scientific and systematic account of the past events. पास्ट में जितनी भी इवेंट्स हुई उन इवेंट्स को क्रोनोलॉजिकली यानी लाइन बाय लाइन अकॉर्डिंग टू द टाइम ऑफ दोज ऑक्यूरेंसेस, उनके जो होने का टाइम था लाइन बाय लाइन क्रोनोलॉजिकल वे में लिखी गई है, साइंटिफिकली प्रूफ की गई है और सिस्टमैटिकली उनका अकाउंट बनाया गया है. किसका? ऑफ द पास्ट इवेंट्स का. तो वो है हिस्ट्री. एक्चुअली दिस इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ हिस्ट्री स्टूडेंट्स. नाउ there are 4 factors which are very important for learning history, for studying history. Those 4 factors are individuals, society, place and time. Obviously जो individuals उस time पे थे, the individuals present in that time, in the past time, the society which prevailed, the norms, the culture that prevailed, the place where the event took place and the time in which the event occurred. Those are the 4 factors which are very important to learn the history. So other important thing is the history should be authentic. It should be authentic means it should be real with evidences and proofs. That's why it's written. It should be scientifically proven. ठीक है. तो सबूत होना चाहिए कि जो इवेंट हुआ था. Like I'll explain further. With the help of material sources we get the proofs. How? We'll see further. So these proofs are known as the sources of history. This I explained you. Let us classify these sources. Now there are 3 types of sources explained in this chapter: material sources, written sources and oral sources. To learn more about them, we are going to learn in detail about material sources, written sources, oral sources. Let me explain you children the weapons, the utensils, जो बर्तन, जो गहने, जो ornaments, जो bones मिलते हैं, जिसके वजह से हिस्ट्री जानी गई है. जैसे उस समय में कैसे लोग थे, how were the people, what was their culture, the weapons they used, the utensils they used, the ornaments they used to wear. Those things are called material sources and those are the proofs of the past people, past individuals. The other sources are written sources. Now you may have heard about the inscriptions written on stones. People used to write on leaves in those times. So those stones, those leaves are called written sources. Then comes oral sources. The folk songs, the folk tales, या जो दादा दादी हमें generation to generation जो stories pass होती है, तो those things are called oral sources. Those are passed from mouth to mouth, from generation to generation. हमारे दादा दादी ने हमें बताया, हम अपने बच्चों को बताएंगे, वो अपने बच्चों को बताएंगे. Those are called oral sources. So now 4 factors are very important for the history we learned. So it's necessary for our study to take help of this historical sources. Then only will be our history perfect. These sources, why? because these sources are verified, they are scientifically proven, they are authentic, they are real, and these always have been used judiciously, that is carefully and with critical analysis. उनकी बराबर जांच पड़ताल हुई है, प्रूफ्स के साथ उनको देखा गया है कि हाँ वाकई ये उस समय के लोगों की निशानियाँ हैं, फिर चाहे वो मटेरियल सोर्सेज हो, चाहे वो रिटन सोर्सेज हो, चाहे वो ओरल कहानियाँ हो जो मुंह से बताई गई है एक जनरेशन से दूसरी जनरेशन तक. फोर्ट्स हैव एन इम्पॉर्टेंट प्लेस. यू नो व्हाट आर फोर्ट्स? किलों को फोर्ट्स कहा जाता है, राइट? तो देर आर सम मेजर टाइप्स ऑफ फोर्ट्स. नाउ डियर चिल्ड्रन, मैंने आपको मटेरियल सोर्सेज के बारे में बताया, तो ये जो फोर्ट्स है, जो मटेरियल चीज़ें हैं, तो फोर्ट इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ मटेरियल सोर्स. देयर वेर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फोर्ट्स लाइक हिल फोर्ट्स, फॉरेस्ट फोर्ट्स, सी फोर्ट्स एंड फोर्ट्स ऑन द प्लेन्स. फिर मॉन्यूमेंट्स भी मटेरियल सोर्स कहा जाएगा, राइट? मॉन्यूमेंट्स इंक्लूड समाधीज, ग्रेव्स, वीरगाला, एंड द बिल्डिंग्स इंक्लूड. फिर बिल्डिंग्स ऑल्सो आर वन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ मटेरियल सोर्स. प्लेसेस, मिनिस्टीरियल मैंशंस, क्वींस क्वार्टर्स, रानीवास, एंड ऑल्सो द हाउसेज ऑफ द कॉमन पीपल. उस टाइम के हाउसेज लोगों को देखकर हमें पता चलता है कि उनका रहन सहन कैसा होगा. ऑब्वियसली यानी हमें हिस्ट्री पता चलती है. They all provide insights about that period. Now see this, it's written physical sources. Physical sources means material sources. Memorials आ गए उसमें, buildings, cave sculptures, inscriptions, coins, copper plates, forts. These are all the examples of material sources, right? So these provide insights about that period. We can pop into that area, we can into that period, and we can know the history of that time. लुकिंग एट देम वी ऑल्सो नो द आर्किटेक्चर. अब बिल्डिंग्स को हमने देखा तो उस टाइम का आर्किटेक्चर हमें पता चलता है, राइट? एंड द इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस ऑफ द पीपल लुकिंग टू देयर हाउसेज, वी कैन नो द इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस, द क्वालिटी ऑफ द स्टाइल ऑफ आर्ट, द बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन, द स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग ऑफ द पीपल इन दैट पर्टिकुलर पीरियड. नाउ ये तो साइंटिफिकली ऑब्वियसली प्रूव्ड ही है, ये तो मटेरियल सोर्सेज है जो दिख रहा है, और ये सब देखकर, मटेरियल सोर्सेज को देखकर वी कैन नो देयर स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, देयर वे ऑफ लिविंग, देयर आर्ट, देयर आर्किटेक्चर, देयर इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस, द क्वालिटी ऑफ आर्ट दे वेर यूजिंग. नाउ one of the important material sources is coins. You know, there were metal coins in the past. Even now we have metal coins, but at that time metallurgy was used very commonly. Even there were monuments made of metals, there were coins made of metals like gold, silver, copper, and these are the important sources of history. Now what do we learn by seeing the coins of that time? Obviously the rulers, how do they used to rule, their governance, their religious ideas. How come we can know the religious ideas of those rulers looking to the coins? Because on those coins there were images of Ram, Sita, Shiv, Parvati, images of some emperors. So looking to those coins we come to know about their religious facts. See, it's written, from the images of Ram, Sita on the coins of Emperor Akbar, or Shiva, Parvati on the coins of Hyder Ali. We see the religious coordination of those days. The Peshwas used, now the language is also written on the coins. There were some languages, some inscriptions written on the coins. So those inscriptions throw light on the languages used in that period. Now, what is inscription? Inscription is also another example of material sources, right? An inscription is a carving on the stone or a wall. Anything written on the anything written or carved on a stone or a wall, that is called inscriptions. Like for example, पुराने temples के ऊपर जैसे कारीगरी की गई थी, जैसे carvings की गई थी, कुछ लिखा गया था, तो those are the examples of the inscriptions. Like here some examples are given of the inscriptions found in Brihadishwara temple, premises in Tanjavur, etc. तो इन temples के ऊपर जो कारीगरी की गई थी, जो चीज़ें लिखी गई थी, जो लैंग्वेजेस लिखी गई थी, उससे हमें उस टाइम के लोगों की लैंग्वेज, उनकी आर्ट पता चलती है, right? So see the definition of inscription which is given here. An inscription is considered to be a very important and reliable source of history. Reliable means जिस पे हम भरोसा कर सकते हैं. Obviously अगर लिखित में, अगर written में हमें कुछ मिला है proof, तो that is the most reliable source, right? It helps us to understand the features like language, script, social life of the period. नाउ द इंस्क्रिप्शंस आर ऑल्सो कार्व्ड ऑन द कॉपर प्लेट्स. कॉपर प्लेट्स पे भी लिखे जाते थे. पहले के टाइम पे जब वर्डिक्स, जब जजमेंट्स सुनाई जाती थी, जब रूल्स लिखे जाते थे, तो वो कॉपर प्लेट्स पे लिखे जाते थे. इंस्क्रिप्शंस वर कार्व्ड ऑन द शीट्स ऑफ द कॉपर. दोज वर कॉल्ड कॉपर प्लेट्स. लाइक रॉयल एडिक्ट्स, रॉयल रूल्स, verdicts, judgments, etc. were inscribed on the copper plates. Now let's move to the written sources. The other sources is written sources. We have learnt what are the books actually. ये books क्या है? Obviously these books will also play the role of written source in future. In future these books will play a role of written source, है ना. ये भी तो history ही है. ये जो बुक बना हुआ है ये रिटन सोर्स है. तो वी लर्न अबाउट सिग्निफिकेंट हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट्स इन द मिडिवल पीरियड फ्रॉम द सोर्सेज लाइक रिटन स्टाइल्स ऑफ स्क्रिप्ट्स लाइक देवनागरी, जो लिपियाँ होती है, जो लैंग्वेजेस होती है, देवनागरी लिपि होती है, अरेबिक लैंग्वेज होती है, पर्शियन लैंग्वेज होती है, मोदी लैंग्वेज. मोदी इज़ ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ लैंग्वेज. तो दीज लैंग्वेजेस आर ऑल्सो फ्रॉम द वराइटीज़ ऑफ डिफरेंट लैंग्वेज. दीज आर द डिफरेंट वराइटीज़ ऑफ लैंग्वेजेस. फिर किस पे लिखी जाती है, ये किसके फॉर्म में लिखी जाती है? मैन्यूस्क्रिप्ट्स में, भूर्ज पत्रास. यू नो देयर वर सम लीव्स, ऑन दोज लीव्स दीज लैंग्वेजेस वर रिटन, जिसको भूर्ज पत्रास बोला जाता था. रिलीजियस मैन्यूस्क्रिप्ट्स, ट्रीटिसेस बनती थी, बायोग्राफीज बनती थी, पेंटिंग्स बनती थी. तो दीज आर और आर द एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ रिटन सोर्सेस, राइट. We can get the information about the food of the people living in those time, that time, the attire, उनका पहनावा, उनकी conventions, उनकी rules, जो rules उस समय के राजा follow करते थे, people follow करते थे, the festivals and their way of living also from these written sources, right? Now, during the medieval period, इस medieval period में ही there were some travelers who traveled from other countries to India. When they came to India, they saw the culture, they saw the material sources. Okay, उसको देख, उन material sources को देख के, monuments, forts, buildings, उनको देख के उन travelers ने travelogues लिखे, accounts of their travels. तो when we refer to those travelogues, we will refer them as written sources. So those are the written sources from which we get the information of the past medieval period, right? So some of the names of the travelers are given here, see students. L. Birani, IBM Batuta, Nicolau Manashi, Babur's biographies. Yes, the biographies written in those times. Biographies are also the example of written sources, like Shivaji Maharaj's biography is known as Shiv Bharat. That is a biography written in Sanskrit. हाँ, तो वो शिवाजी महाराज की बायोग्राफी है. किसने लिखी थी वो? द पोएट परमानंद हैज़ रिटन इट. So there were some biographies also written. So these are also the examples of written sources. The biographies of different rulers and their correspondents help us to understand the policies and the administrative system of the rulers during that time. Now there's another term, तारीख, जिसको हम तवारीख भी बोलते हैं, but तारीख is the convenient term to use. तारीख means the sequence of events. जैसे we studied earlier कि history is the events written in chronological order, line by line. तो sequence of events. तो तवारीख भी लिखी गई थी. किसने लिखी थी वो तारीखें? तारीख एल बिरानी, जयुद्दीन बरानी, मौलाना अहमद, याहा बिन अहमद, मिर्ज़ा हैदर, भीमसेन सक्सेना, etc. So these were the people, those who have written tarikhs, those who have written the events in sequence, the events of medieval period. Bakar is a type of chronicle that originated in Maharashtra. Now what is chronicle? Chronicle means when the events occurred in that time and they are written in according to the occurrence. यानी जिस टाइम पे हुए, जो पहले हुई वो पहले लिखी गई, जो बाद में हुई वो बाद में लिखी गई. ऐसे एक कंटिन्यूस chronologically written events होती है according to their occurrence. Bakar is a type of chronicle that originated in Maharashtra, and mind well, Bakar originated in Maharashtra, right? So chronicles help in understanding the aspects like contemporary political happenings, linguistic transactions. Linguistic transactions means language में जो transactions हुई, जो cultural life उस time की हुई, जो social conditions हुई, वो chronologically लिखी गई, sequence में लिखी गई थी बकर में, right? So many of the chronologicals, see these are very hard terms, that is why I'll have to read it for you so that you will understand. Many of the chronological written in Marathi were written आफ्टर मैनी ईयर्स आफ्टर देयर ऑकरेंस, मतलब काफ़ी साल पहले इवेंट्स हुए थे, काफ़ी सालों के बाद वो लिखे गए थे मराठी में. एज अ रिजल्ट दे आर सीन टू रिलाई एज हियरसेज. हियरसेज यानी तभी वो जनरेशन टू जनरेशन पास हुए, राइट. तो सम ऑफ दीज some of these chronicles are माहिकावतीची बकर, सभासद बकर, चितनी साची बकर, बाहूसाहेबाची बकर, etc. The works of the contemporary Western historians are also known, like historians like Robert Arm, M.C. Sprengel and Grant Duff are also important. तो these were the historians जिन्होंने भी chronicles लिखे थे. Okay, now लेट्स कम टू द ओरल सोर्सेज. ओरल सोर्सेज जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, फोक लाइफ के जो फोक सॉन्ग्स, फोक मिथ्स, दोज आर कॉल्ड ओरल सोर्सेज, जो दोज विच आर पास फ्रॉम जनरेशन टू जनरेशन. We understand various aspects of folk life through folk literature, traditionally passed on from generation to generation. Yes, generation to generation जो पास किए जाते हैं वो. Some examples are oasis, folk songs, povadas, folk tales, legends, myths. Those are called folk. Those are called oral sources. So such type of sources are called, yes, oral sources. Let's see. Some examples of oral sources again are given here. Folk songs, gatha means जो गाथा सुनाई जाती है, जो songs, kind of songs only, bhakti songs. Shlokas, abhangas, povadas, proverbs, legends, myths. These are all the examples of oral sources. Now, history is written with the help of three types of sources mentioned above. Even after it has been written down, research on it goes on continuously. भले ही oral sources लिख दिए गए हैं written में, तो भी उनके ऊपर research continuously चलती ही रहती है. New sources, new information उसमें obviously add करनी ही पड़ती है, right? Then the sources has to be rewritten accordingly. That is why it is said scientifically, systematically proven. Right? We can see these, that our history books and those of our parents and grandparents differ to a certain extent. क्यों? आज की जो history book है, क्या यही book सालों बाद भी क्या यही book रहेगी? No, these need to be updated. तो updated कब होगी? जब इनको time to time continuously इन पर research की जाएगी, तब ये books updated होती है. जो हमारी books grandparents ने पढ़ी थी, are we reading the same books? No. The books have to be updated time to time with the research continuously, right? Turn the page. Evaluating the sources of history. Whichever source of history, बहुत सारे sources हमें मिले, तो कोई भी history का source use करने से पहले हमें क्या precautions लेनी चाहिए? It's given in the last page. तो we should see that the source which we have got, which we are using, it should be genuine. The authenticity should be there. Authenticity means उसकी कोई और कॉपी नहीं होनी चाहिए, फेक कॉपी नहीं होनी चाहिए. It should be genuine, it should not be fake. Okay. उसके इंटरनल स्टैंडर्ड्स मेंटेन किए हुए हैं कि नहीं. जो ऑथर है, द ऑथर हु हैज़ रिटन these things, तो वी शुड सी what were his personal interests while writing those sources, the writer's personal interests, the period in which they live and the political pressures of them. क्या उन्होंने किसी के political pressure में आकर तो ये source नहीं लिखा है? impartial होकर ही लिखा है कि partial होकर लिखा है? तो the sources which we get, those sources should be scrutinized, should be verified with other contemporary sources also. It is also important to see whether they rely or hearsay. क्या सुनी सुनाई बात लिखी है या आई विटनेस अकाउंट है उनका? तो वी नीड टू कंसिडर द एग्जैक्ट, फिर बढ़ा चढ़ा के तो नहीं लिखा है. तो वी शुड सी दैट दे हैव रिटन रियल, विच द सोर्स विच वी आर यूजिंग, इट शुड बी रियल. वी शुड कन्फर्म, then we should use those sources. The information has to be verified with the help of other contemporary sources. Even दूसरे contemporary sources के साथ जो information उसमें दी गई है, the information needs to be verified. The information may be one-sided. क्या पता राइटर ने partial होकर लिखा है, one side होकर लिखा है, exaggerate करके लिखा है, तो फिर तो वो wrong information मिल गई हमें, right? It has to be seen in a proper perspective. Impartial होकर लिखा गया हो तो ही वो source बराबर है. The sources have to be subjected to a critical analysis. उसके critical analysis किए गए होने चाहिए. The author's impartiality is very important while we are referring any written history source. So read the chapter properly, students. There are some hard terms or hard names used in the chapter. You need to read the chapter twice at least, so that you will understand the explanation after looking this video, right? You will be getting a PDF. You have to prepare notes from that PDF. You will have to maintain a notebook. You will be called in school. You may be called in school for the checking of your notebooks, right? Thank you.